Hi, I'm Mike Miller. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks so much for checking out The Other Side that we're airing through Denton Community Television, shooting down here at UNT in the Mayborn Journalism Department. My guest today is a guy that has been working toward learning a repertoire of historical folk songs over the years, and I'm honored to have Edward Macke here today. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Mike.
We were just talking about your guitar a little bit. That's really nice. I like the looks of it, but it has a historical story associated with it.
Yeah, this guitar is a historical object. During the war, they weren't actually supposed to make guitars because they were considered not essential to the war effort.
Yeah.
So Gibson actually kind of under the covers made some guitars, and they had to scrounge materials because one of the first things they did is the government took all the spruce for gliders and such, and it wasn't available for making guitars. So that's why this guitar has a mahogany top, which is not what this guitar is supposed to have.
Yeah.
And later on, they took away the truss rods because the steel wasn't available. But I got an early one that still has a truss rod and still has the good tuners made out of heavy metal instead of thin stuff like the later ones were.
Yeah.
What
year was
early
this actually made?
1943.
43.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a great treasure. I know you enjoy having that.
Yeah, I've had this since I was a teenager.
That's good.
I used to go down to a used instrument shop in downtown Cleveland, like almost every Saturday, and play every guitar they had.
Really?
Say, find a guitar. Hey, this is really good, but oh my, I can't afford it. You know, and rejected most of the guitars. Then I picked this one up and said, "Oh man,
that's what you were looking for.
That's the sound I was looking for." So I probably overpaid for it. I traded in a guitar that was worth about $50 plus, I think, another $50 in cash for this guitar.
Back then,
that was quite a bit for an old guitar at that time. But never been disappointed with it.
It really sounds good and looks good. So did you grow up in Cleveland?
Yes. Moved to Cleveland when I was 13 or 14 years old. And,
oh, really?
And grew up there, yeah.
Is Cleveland close to the size of Dallas, or how Dallas was? I've never been up there.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a major city.
Major city, yeah. How far is that from New York?
Oh, you're asking tough questions.
Oh.
I don't know.
A couple hours drive or something, or?
Yeah, I've never driven it, but yeah, it's on Lake Erie. It's in the Midwest.
Oh, it's way up there. Okay.
Yeah, and it's it's between New York and Chicago.
Yeah.
So.
That's always been a pretty heavily populated area, though, of the United States, hasn't it? The East Coast.
Right. Yeah.
States. Yeah. So you played at the La Cave?
Yeah, when I was 19 and 20 years old, I played at a coffee house called La Cave in Cleveland. I went to an open mic there, and most of the guys at the open mic were having trouble playing guitar and singing both at the same time.
Yeah.
And everybody was singing that same song, like whatever was on Bob Dylan's first album or something.
Yeah.
And I got up there and I sang songs that they never heard before, and I was actually able to play the guitar and sing at the same time. So they said, "You got to come in here on Saturday nights and open the show for us."
That's great.
So I started doing that, and I'd probably still be doing that, except that I'd been to school for computer programming, and I couldn't find a job because they all said, "Oh, you're going to be drafted any day now. Why would we bother to hire you?" And I was anxious to get out of the house, so I volunteered and went into the Air Force.
Air Force. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you go overseas?
Yeah, I was stationed in Thailand.
Oh, really?
For a year. Yeah, beautiful country.
Were you on ships?
Never on ship.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A lot of the aircraft are on ships, though, aren't they? And then they
Yeah, and
launch
they're
out.
Navy aircraft.
That's
so,
Navy. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we didn't
Yeah.
do that.
The Air Force is different. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that was just the Vietnam War it created so much confusion in the country.
Yeah.
It seemed like, and that spurred a lot of songs, I guess. And
Yeah, there was a lot of good anti-war songs came out.
some of the Woodstock
war.
material. And,
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was over there during the Vietnam War, but right in the very beginning of it, the build-up when we'd still thought, it was just a few malcontents, causing trouble, and if we just helped them a little bit, they'd be able to overcome it. And I went the whole gamut from thinking before I went in that I was highly suspicious of whether our government would choose the right side in any civil war, to actually having a Vietnamese friend who was very adamantly anti-communist, who convinced me that it was a good thing to be in the war, to, especially when I got back from there and started seeing news and seeing TV. Over there, it's, you don't see much of the news. There's,
Yeah.
You're kind of isolated. But, and seeing, then I became anti-war.
Yeah.
So I evolved.
Yeah. Have collected a repertoire of songs, of anti-war songs written by various people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we have such turbulent times today, but it's things that have just been so much turbulence over the history of mankind. It seems
Yeah.
like, always conflicts going on, differing viewpoints, and I don't know, growth and development, and society's going downhill in various ways. But
Yeah, I could sing an anti-war song actually. This will be a very old one.
okay, be glad to hear that.
It sounds like a parody of When Johnny Comes Marching Home,
Yeah.
but it appears that it's older than that. So maybe Johnny Comes Marching Home is a parody of this song.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the early 19th century, I think, Irish song.
Really, yeah.
We are guns and drums and drums and guns, hurroo, hurroo. We are guns and drums and drums and guns, hurroo. We are guns and drums and your drums and guns, the enemy nearly slew you. My darling lad, you look so bad, Johnny, I hardly knew you. Where are your legs that used to run, hurroo, hurroo? Where are your legs that used to run, hurroo? Where are your legs that used to run when first you went to carry a gun? Fear that your dancing days are done, Johnny, I hardly knew you. You haven't an arm, you haven't a leg, hurroo, hurroo. You haven't an arm, you haven't a leg, hurroo. You haven't an arm, you haven't a leg, you're an eyeless, boneless, chickenless egg. You'll have to be put on a bowl to beg, oh Johnny, I hardly knew you. Where are your eyes that look so mild, hurroo, hurroo? Where are your eyes that look so mild, hurroo? Where are your eyes that look so mild when first you had me heart beguiled? Why did you skedaddle from me and the child? Johnny, I hardly knew you. I'm happy for to see you home, hurroo, hurroo. I'm happy for to see you home, hurroo. Happy for to see you home upon the island of Ceylon, so low and flesh, so pale and wan. Oh, Johnny, I hardly knew you. They're rolling out the guns again, hurroo, hurroo. They're rolling out the guns again, hurroo. They're rolling out the guns again, but they'll never take our sons again. They'll never take our sons again. Oh, Johnny, I'm swearing to you. Guess it's been a while. I flubbed a couple of chords there, but
Oh, that's okay.
you got the general idea. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, I've heard that song since I was a kid, and it's really a catchy melody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one.
It just seemed like as Britain became powerful back a couple hundred years ago, you know, they were trying to take over the world, and it just resulted in so
Empire,
many, so many young guys getting killed, and just a constant war with other countries and things like that. But
I got another song about a say draft resistor.
okay,
Irishman that didn't want to join the King of England's army. I had a first cousin named Arthur McBride, and I took a stroll down by the seaside, seeking good fortune and what might betide, just as the day was a-dawning. Then after resting we both took a tramp, we met Sergeant Harper and Corporal Tramp, besides the wee drummer who beat up our camp with his rowdy dow-dow in the morning. Says he, me young fellows, if you will enlist, a guinea you quickly shall have in your fist, and likewise a crown for to kick up the dust, and drink the king's health in the morning. And we've been such fools as to take the advance, for a wee bit of money we'd have to run chance, for you've got the scruples to send us to France, where we would be killed in the morning. Says he, me young fellows, if I hear one more word, it's instantly now I shall have with me sword, and into your bodies of strength would support, so now me gay devils take warning. Arthur and me, well we took the odds, we gave 'em no chance for to launch out their swords, or whacking shillelaghs down over their heads, we paid 'em right smart in the morning. As for the wee drummer, we rifled his pouch, we made a football of his rowdy dow-dow, and into the ocean to rock and to roll, and barring the day it's returning. As for the rapier that hung by his side, we flung it as far as we could in the tide, to the devil I pitch you, says Arthur McBride, for spoiling our walk in the morning. Arthur McBride.
Arthur McBride.
Yeah.
When was that song written?
I have no idea.
Really?
But it's got to be 19th century anyway. It's not a modern song.
Was it an Irish song?
Yeah, it's Irish.
And you do some Scottish material too?
Yes, I do. I think my first interest was in finding the oldest ballads I could find.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And a lot of them come from the Child's collection of English and Scottish popular ballads.
Really?
And so a lot of those are kind of in a Scots dialect. They're more collected in Scotland.
Like Robert Burns and
yeah.
he took, like Old Lang Syne was an older song during his lifetime, and he kind of rewrote it a little or something.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I got, there's a old, very old, like probably goes back to the 16th century, song called John of Hazel Green that, like a lot of those old ballads, it just meanders on kind of aimlessly for ever and ever.
Yeah.
Lots of verses. And then Scott took this song, and Sir Walter Scott took the song and reworked it and turned it into a very economical way of telling a story.
Oh, really?
A great little song. And
I didn't know he wrote songs.
well, he wrote poetry. I mean,
Poetry,
but he took
yeah.
took the old song, used a lot of the words from the song, but he made it much more efficient and economical and readable as a poem. And then if you put it to it fits the melody of the old ballad. So, and I just noticed recently, my wife watches these Hallmark movies,
Oh, yeah.
and this would make a great Hallmark movie. Very romantic. Why weep ye by the tide, lady? Why weep ye by the tide? I'll wed ye to my youngest son, and ye shall be his bride. Ye shall be his bride, lady, say comely to be seen. But she's let the tears to fall for Jacques of Hazeldine. A chain of gold ye shall nae lack, nor canes to bind your hair, or managed hound, or mantle hawk, or palfrey fresh and fair. Ye, the foremost of them all, shall ride a forest queen, but she's let the tear-doon fall for Jacques of Hazeldine. Now let this woeful grief be done, and dry your cheeks a pale. Young Frank is chief o' Errington, and laird of Langley Dale. His step is first in peaceful hall, his sword in battle keen. But she's let the tear-doon fall for Jacques of Hazeldine. The cart was decked at morning tide, the tapers glimmered fair. The priest and bridegroom wait the bride, the dame and knight are there. They sought her base by bower and hall, the lady was nae seen. She's o'er the border and the wall with Jacques of Hazeldine. She's o'er the border and the wall with Jacques of Hazeldine.
That's really nice. I like that.
Yeah, and with these historical songs, I love the way that they're promising her if she marries this nobleman that she'll have hounds for hunting, hawks for hunting, horses, gentle horses that are fresh and fair, all the things that a lady would want in the 16th century.
16th century, yeah.
Yeah, when the nobility spent their time hunting, a lot of their time hunting.
Now that's the century when the printing press had just come out, been invented and was...
I think so, yeah.
And the King James Bible was...
yeah, that's not, don't...
16-something, 1620.
Yeah, I can't tell you. Don't promise you that I got the right date on that, but all the songs that I like were from people that didn't have any books, couldn't read.
Yeah.
They passed the songs down.
Oral tradition.
Orally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, sometimes called illiterature, the literature of the illiterate.
But they're the people that really know what's going on and are really experiencing what the government's doing to everybody.
Yeah, and you get a perspective on history maybe from some of these songs.
Yeah.
Just seeing what was interesting to people at those times.
Yeah.
You don't look at these songs for historical facts that stand up to history, but you look at it for maybe the emotional content or the interests of the people.
Yeah, how the people really felt.
Yeah.
Scotland, though, when did Scotland become a country? Way back, like 500 or 600 years ago, or?
Oh, you're asking me. I know. I thought I'm interested in history, but I don't know.
I mean, I should know that too, but I don't know yet. But their folk songs have impacted the world, I guess, in ways.
Yeah.
Have you ever been over there to Scotland?
I've never been to Scotland. I've been to Ireland a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to go to Scotland. We'll see if if I have time to do that.
Yeah, it takes time to do all this traveling.
Yeah. Someday. See, I could do another song. Let's see. Here's a very old, if I can figure out what it is, very old Scottish song. Again, it's about the time of knights and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There were 3 rains sat on a tree, down a down, hey down a down. They were as black as they might be, with a down. One of them said to his mate, "Oh, where shall we our breakfast take?" Down, derry, 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 down, down. Down in yonder green field, down a down, hey down a down. There lies a knight slain under his shield, with a down. His hounds they lie down at his feet, so well they do their master keep. Down, derry, 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 down, down. His hawks they fly so eagerly, down a down, hey down a down. No other fowl dare come him near, with a down. Down there came a fallow doe, as great with young as she might go. Down, derry, 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 down, down. She lift up his bloody head, down a down, head down a down. She's kissed his wounds that were so red, with a down. She's ta'en him up upon her back and carried him to the earthen lake. Down, derry, 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 down, down. She's buried him before the prime. Down a down, hey down a down. She was dead herself ere in song time, with a down. Oh, God grant every gentleman such hawks, such hounds, and such a layman. Down, derry, 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 down, down.
That's really good. I've heard you play that a few times.
Yeah. God grant every gentleman such hawks, such hounds, and such a layman. A layman being a mate or a partner, a lover.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that they thought it was a good idea that after she buried her lover, that she should die herself, because there's nothing to live for.
Yeah.
Now that he's gone. They're not. Women aren't like that anymore.
I guess the idea of courtly love and all that was just developing through the centuries.
Yeah, I think that song I sang before, the Jock of Hazeldean, was kind of a revolutionary thing, because she was supposed to marry this nobleman.
Yeah.
That her parents had picked out for her,
mm-hmm.
And agreed to, and she ran off with we don't know, probably a musician or something. So that was very unusual for that time. And in fact, I think it was actually Walter Scott in the 19th century added that little ending where she ran off with him.
Now, did he get in trouble later in life and end up in jail?
Oh, yeah. Mike, you got all the questions.
Oh, I get some of those guys so mixed up.
Yeah, I know.
But was there a king in Ireland or Scotland who decided to kill all the minstrels, all the people who were singing songs and
Oh, I hope not.
I don't know where I read that.
Yeah.
But I guess the royalty didn't always agree with what the minstrels were saying, in their songs. And was there?
Oh, yeah.
I thought I read a story about somebody who the king and his men came by, and this guy was in the woods and had his guitar or something, and he sang this song to the king, and then the king got mad, and it was something about the king's power being not real, but just artificial, and then they went after him, and maybe I'm getting it mixed up with the Gypsy Poet, Matthew Arnold's Gypsy Poet.
Yeah, but I think, kings at that time had that kind of absolute power.
Yeah, the absolute power.
I don't like it. They
Yeah.
had him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
although I read somewhere that a lot of times they tolerated only, minstrels or people, clowns that would maybe make fun of them, but in a, kind of a friendly way that they could tolerate that sometimes.
Yeah.
But you had to be very expert at that to be able to
Very diplomatic.
do that and save and keep your head.
For sure. Is there another song you'd like to do before we conclude?
Yeah. Let me think. Here's a song from the days of Sail. I just did it the other day. From Liverpool to Frisco a roving I went to stay in that country, it was my intent. Women and whiskey like other damn fools soon had me transported back to Liverpool singing row. Row, bullies, row, them Liverpool girls, they have got us in tow. I shipped on the Alaska line out in the bay, awaiting a fair wind to get underway. Sailors all drunk and their clothes is all tore and their whiskey's all gone and their backs is all sore, singing row. Row, bullies, row, them Liverpool girls, they have got us in tow. Here's to the mate with his jacket of blue, he's looking for work for the sailors to do. Shipped up full halyards, they loudly does roar, it's lay aloft Paddy, a son of a horse, singing row. Row, bullies, row, them Liverpool girls, they have got us in tow. You remember the time we was crossing the line, sure think on it now, and we had a good time. Having bows under, sailors all wet, we was doing 12 knots with the mainskysail set, singing row. Row, bullies, row, them Liverpool girls, they have got us in tow. Now we've arrived at the Bramley-Moore dock, the fair maids and lasses around us do flock. I think it's high time for to get up and dance, singing row. Row, bullies, row, them Liverpool girls, they have got us in tow.
I like that.
Liverpool girls.
When was that written?
The thing about a lot of these songs is
You just don't know for sure.
They were written over
Generations.
a century, generation.
Yeah.
So to even try to identify who wrote it is kind of a moot
Defeats the
thing
point.
because the guy that wrote it probably didn't sound like that when it was first written, because it evolved through many different people that put their own twist on the song.
Yeah.
The thing that you see about folk songs is you can kind of tell you got a really old song if you find different versions of it in different counties and different countries. If it's had time to spread that far,
yeah,
it must have, the original song must have been very, very old.
yeah.
But to try to guess, you know, I wish I could hear some of these songs in the 16th century.
Yeah, recordings of those actual.
Right, but they didn't have good recording equipment in those days.
No.
The cassette hadn't been invented yet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for all those centuries, there were no recording equipment until the 20th century.
And even writing the music down, you know, they didn't do that. That was for sacred music, you know.
Yeah, hymns.
Yeah, it wasn't like
Bach.
Songs of the peasants weren't worth writing down. The best you might have is somebody writing in their diary.
Yeah,
you know, the peasants
journals.
sang a interesting song last night, and it was about this and that. And you say, oh, that's that song, but they didn't even transcribe all the words. They just you know, kind of paraphrased it.
Reference it, yeah.
So you knew the song was around at that time whenever that guy wrote it down in his diary, but what it actually sounded like, we don't know.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming to the studio today to share some music with us and stories, and thank you guys so much for checking out the show. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Tell me, follow your dreams, and they say, do what you want, and money will come.